Are you sat there in your 9 to 5 wishing you could be a photographer? Well, I was there too. I have been there. I was a project manager. It was dull as. But I made the transition. I'm going to tell you what I did, why it was horrifically wrong, and what I would do given my time again. Now, first up, disclaimer, this is not financial advice. Let's dive in. So, first of all, let me tell you about the train crash, which was my move into professional photography. So there I was, I've got my professional job. I had a suit, a tie, freshly shaved. I've not shaved since I left the job, as you can probably tell. I was there living paycheck to paycheck, and I went, do you know what? I want to be a photographer. So I left the job and I said, I am a photographer. I'd probably got £2,000 paycheck in my bank account left over at the point of doing this. I reckon that was about it. I took on a studio, very cheap studio, but I took on a studio, and we dived into the world of photography. And it was stressful for years because I had 30 days to make enough money to pay my house rent, my studio rent, and all of my overheads. And I'd never done it before. I made it happen. I made it work. It was stressful. My hair fell out at some stage. I went grey. I lost many, many relationships, but we made it work. Now, here's what I would do given my time again in the order that I would do it if I want to go from 9 to 5 to photographer for life, for the long haul, not being a 20-year-old, just getting by eating baked beans out of a tin cold because I can't afford to turn the hobs on. They were not good days. The first thing I would do, prioritize over everything, is save a year's salary and a year's operational costs. Two different things. I'd save a year's worth of my salary and a year's worth of my operational costs. And I'd also begin cutting down all of my overheads. If you've got a car note, which is what I believe they call it in the States, or a car payment plan, I'd get rid of that. If I had credit card debts, they've all got to go. Whatever it is, I would lose all of that and I would get my overheads down to as little as possible. You're going to have to slum it for a little bit. You can't be driving around in a £400 a month car. You need to go and buy a cheap car. I still drive cheap cars to this day. I have had nice cars in interims and previous parts, but I realised that the novelty wears off after about a month and I don't care what people think about me. So if someone's like, oh, he's driven in a 25-year-old ragged out car, it doesn't bother me. But watch this channel again when I turn 40 and I buy a red Ferrari, because that midlife crisis is definitely in the post. That's step one. Step two, I would make sure I have all of the camera gear that I need. Notice the last bit, I need, not I want. Nobody needs mirrorless. Nobody needs broncolor. I would make sure I have what I need to be a jobbing photographer. 2 identical camera bodies, the lenses that I need, which is probably not many. For most people, it's 3. Get at me in the comments if you believe you need more than 3 lenses. The lights you need, plus 1 additional spare. So say you need 3 lights for a lot of your work, by 4. The light stands, the tripods, all of that stuff. Do not go crazy. This is not your forever kit. This is your making proof of concept kit. This is me going, yes, I can work. If it was me, I'd probably get 2 5D Mark IIIs, 24-70, 70 to 200, something like that. That'd be my cameras. I'd buy 4 Godox 500 watt lights, a couple of soft boxes, Octabox, and a load of reflectors. Stands, tripod, bosh, done. If I was doing video, I'd get a Blackmagic like this because these are brilliant for grading. And yeah, all in, few grand, good to go. I would then create my portfolio with this kit. I would hone it in. I would make sure I could absolutely nail it. Now, when I was that jobbing photographer at the start, I had a Canon 580 EX2 speed light on a Pocket Wizard for a shoot-through umbrella and an 85 1.8 lens. I shot all of my portrait work on that, all of it. I then did add to it as I started making money. And of course, I bought things before I should have financially done so because I'm an idiot. Learn from me, don't copy me. But that's how I moved along. Now, you look here, there's loads of kit in here. Photography is a snowballing business. If you go back 5 years, I had a 5D Mark II with 100mm prime and some Bowens lenses, and I was making good money. But as the money snowballs and the investments work out and all the rest of it, it allows you and it affords you the luxury of buying fancy kit. So instead of using Godox video lights, we use aperture lights. Instead of using Bowens heads, we use broncolor heads. You do not need this. I made good money with Bowens heads, which are Godox rebranded, and the rest of it. Don't fixate on the kit. The next thing and the final thing I would do is then leave my job. But before doing so, I would pick up a part-time job, evenings and or weekends. You're about to do some serious hours. You can easily work 70 hours a week. Easy being a bit of a... You will have to make sacrifices. You will not be down the pub with your mates if you want to be a photographer. You will not be out drinking. You probably can't afford beer. You will be working a lot. You'll be working 9 to 5 as a photographer, Monday to Friday. You'll be going to networking events. You'll be doing portfolio work. You'll be doing client work. You'll be doing a lot of marketing. I've got a whole workshop on it. I'll try to remember to link it below. It is my best workshop. If you know, out of all of them, do that one. It'll have the biggest impact on your career. Make sure you're still keeping that money coming in. Squirrel it away. Live a frugal life. What I did was I got a 20 grand paycheck in and went, let's go party. And then 2 months later, we're going, can't afford rent. I wish somebody had told me this. I did not have this sort of information when I was starting out photography. My family aren't self-employed people. They all have jobs. It's a very different world. Start off with that part-time job. Once you are making good money for a long period of time and you feel like you might die from fatigue, cut down the part-time job and eventually leave it. But build that buffer. That 1 year should become 2 years, should become 3 years. You don't want to hit a pandemic and go, oh my word, my life is over. I'm going to have to close the business down. Be prepared for that. There's always something. Well, if it's not a pandemic, it's a broken leg, it's an illness, it's a family bereavement. There is always something round the corner to ruin your income. So keep saving, keep building that buffer, and keep your overheads low. That is what I wish I did. That is not what I did. Yes, it was fun doing what I did at times, but I really paid for it later in my career when I then had to wait and save and save and scrimp and save. And, you know, it's only in recent years I've been able to go back to living like a normal human being. And if I'd have just done it the right way the first time, I'd have been much further ahead in my career. I hope it's been of use to you. Let me know in the comments below what else you'd like to learn about. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.